320, Unit 3 Review. Instructions say factor completely. First thing you always want to look for is your GCF. So looking at my first one here, I can take a 3 out of each of the numbers. So I'll take a 3 out. Every term has the variable a, so I can take an a out. Each term has an x, and they also have an x to the second power. So I can take up to x squared out of each term. For my first term, taking a 3 out and an a leaves a squared. And I took x squared out, leaving x to the fifth, minus 12 divided by 3 is 4. My a and my x squared both came out, plus 9 divided by 3 is 3. I'm left with a and x. Number 2, my factoring by grouping. Looking at my first 2, I can take x squared out, which leaves me with x plus 2. Looking at my second 2, I can take a positive 6 out, so plus 6, which leaves me with x plus 2. I now can take my x plus 2 out of each of these, which leaves x plus 2 here, x squared plus 6. That's our final answer. For number 3, I'm going to multiply AC and B. So what can I multiply to get 6, but add to get a negative 5? And negative 2 times negative 3. Negative 2 plus negative 3 gives me positive 5. Since my leading coefficient is 1, I can automatically go to my 2 parentheses, placing x and x in the front. I'm going to have a negative 2 and a negative 3. Final answer. Problem number 4. Step number 1, check and see, is there a GCF? Yes, there is. I take my 2 out, which leaves x squared minus 5x minus 6. For the part in parentheses, I need to take and do my AC and my B. AC is negative 6. B is negative 5. So what can I multiply to get 6 but subtract to get 5? In this case, it would be a positive 1 times a negative 6. 1 plus negative 6 gives me negative 5. My leading coefficient is 1 again. So my 2 goes here. Put my 2 sets of parentheses. X, X. I have a plus 1 and a minus 6. Final answer. Problem number 5. Here, I do my AC and my B. 12 times negative 2 is negative 24. I have to get a negative 5. So what can I multiply to get 24 but subtract to get 5? That would be 8 and 3, so I have a negative 8 times a positive 3. Negative 8 plus 3. So I have 12 y squared minus 8y plus 3y minus 2. I can take 4y out of the front too. So I have 4y, which leaves 3y minus 2. I'm going to take a positive 1 out of the last 2, which leaves 3y minus 2. My 3y minus 2 comes out, leaving 4y plus 1. Final answer. For number 6, these are difference of perfect squares. Difference of perfect squares. Put two sets of parentheses. The square root of 9x squared is 3x. It goes in the front. The square root of 25 is 5. It goes in the back side. I then place a plus and a minus. Final answer. For number 7, I first survey and see is there a GCF. If there is not, I next say, hey, leading coefficient is 1. Our leading number, our term is 1, a perfect square. Our C term is a perfect square. So I'm going to test it real quick. Two sets of parentheses, and my little box. Square root of 9x squared, 3x. Square root of 25 is 5. Those have to come out to 30x. 2 times 3 times 5 is 30 with an x. 30x equals 30x. So I move here, put a parentheses with a square on it, 3x in the front, positive 5 in the back, plus sign between them. Looking at number 9, it's a binomial. I have a perfect square and a perfect square, but I have a plus sign, not a minus. If you have a plus sign, the answer is prime. For number 11, these are both perfect squares with a minus sign. So I drop down. 4x squared plus 9. 4x squared minus 9. I now survey my answers. This one can be factored again. The 4x squared plus 9 is here, not changing. This one gets split apart again, because they're again difference of perfect squares. 2x plus 3, 2x minus 3. Final answer. Problem number 12. First thing I need to do is take out my GCF, my greatest common factor. In this case, it's a 3. That leaves 25x squared minus 36. This is again difference of perfect squares. My 3 stays out front. Do not forget to put your GCF in the front. I have a 5x plus 6, 5x minus 6. Final answer. Here at number 13, our instructions have changed. Our instructions now say solve by factoring. And notice each of these problems have an equal sign. Looking at number 13, I do my AC and my B. AC gives me a negative 28. My B is 3. I'm going to do a negative 4 times a positive 7. Negative 4 plus 7 does add to give me positive 3. My leading coefficient is 1, so I can automatically drop down. Put my x minus 4, x plus 7. Here I'm going to set each factor equal to 0. X minus 4 equals 0. X plus 7 equals 0. I add 4 to both sides. X equals 4. Here, I subtract 7 from both sides. X equals negative 7. Number 14. I first put my equation into standard form. I subtract 28 from both sides. I have x squared plus 3x minus 28 equals 0. It is now the exact same problem as problem number 13. Problem number 15. I first take out my GCF. My GCF is 2x, which leaves me with 2x plus 1 equals 0. I set each factor equal to 0. 2x equals 0. 2x plus 1 equals 0. I now solve for x for each equation. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 0. Here, I subtract 1 from both sides. I have 2x equals negative 1. 2x equals negative 1. I divide both sides by 2. X equals negative 1/2. For number 16, I first put it into standard form. So I subtract 2x from both sides. 4x squared minus 2x equals 0. I now take out my GCF. 2x times 2x minus 1 equals 0. I set each factor equal to 0. 2x equals 0. 2x minus 1 equals 0. I divide this one both sides by 2. X equals 0. This one I add 1 to both sides. 2x equals 1. I now divide both sides by 2. X equals 1/2. Number 17. This one looks like it might be perfect squares. So I'm going to come over here and test real quick. So I have 2 parentheses parentheses equals my box. The square root of x squared is x. Square root of 36 is 6. I have to get that to equal a 12x. 2 times 6 is 12 with an x. 12x does equal 12x. So my factor is x plus 6 equals 0. This is a repeated solution, so I'm just going to have to do this one time. X plus 6 equals 0. I subtract 6 from both sides and find that x is equal to negative 6. For number 18, before I can begin anything, I must FOIL my 2 on the left-hand side. So I do my first, y squared. I do my outers. Y times 1 is y, so plus y. I do my inners. Negative 6 times y is negative 6y. Then I do my last. Negative 6 times 1 is a negative 6, and that's equal to negative 12. I combine my like terms from the left. Y squared minus 5y minus 6 equals negative 12. I now add 12 to both sides. I have y squared minus 5y plus 6 equals 0. I now have to factor. Here, my AC and my B. AC is 6, B is negative 5, so that's going to be negative 2 times negative 3. So I have y minus 2 times y minus 3 equals 0. Y minus 2 equals 0, y minus 3 equals 0. I add 2 to both sides. Y equals 2. Here, I add 3 to both sides. Y equals 3. Problem number 19. The area of a triangle is 75 square meters. It says I have a triangle. First thing I do is draw a triangle. I'm dealing with area, so I need the altitude and the base. It tells me the area, so I am looking at base times height divided by 2. They tell me that my capital A, my area is 75 square meters. So the capital A equals 75. Next, I'm told the height is, my height, I'm going to use the letter H, is 5 meters longer than, so that's a plus 5, the base. So I have my base and my height. The height is the base plus 5. So I now know that I have 75 is equal to b times b plus 5, because that's my height, b plus 5, plus 5 divided by 2. Next, I'm going to multiply both sides of my equation by 2 to remove my fraction. So I have 150 is equal to, I'm going to go ahead and distribute these together. So that gives me b squared plus 5b. I'm going to subtract 150 from both sides of my equal sign. So I now have 0 is equal to b squared plus 5b minus 150. I'm going to factor. B here, B here. So what can I have? AC, have B. This is going to be negative 150. This is a positive 5. So what can I multiply to get 150 but subtract to get 5? That would be 15 times negative 10. So I'm going to have plus 15 minus 10. B plus 15 is equal to 0. B minus 10 equals 0. I subtract 15 from both sides. So we find that B is equal to negative 15. Here, we add 10 to both sides. We see that B is equal to 10. This answer is not a valid answer since it is rooted in the real world and our base cannot be a negative number. So the base is 10 meters. My height is going to be h equals b plus 5. Well, my b is 10, so it's going to be 10 plus 5. So the height will be 15 meters. Number 20. The length of a rectangle is 4 inches more than twice the width. If the area is 70 square inches, what is the width and what is the length? Since it's a rectangle, first thing I'm going to do is draw a rectangle. It tells me the length is 4 inches more than twice the width. So here's my width. The length is 4 inches more, so that's plus 4. Twice the width, that would be 2W. They told me the area is equal to 70 square inches. 70 inches squared. I know that the area formula for a rectangle is length times width. So I now have 70 is equal to 2W plus 4 times W. I distribute my W in. So I have 70 is equal to 2W squared plus 4W. I subtract 70 from both sides of my equal sign. I have 0 is equal to 2W squared plus 4W minus 70. I can divide everything by 2. Divide everything by 2. So I now have 0 is equal to W squared plus 2W minus 35. I have my AC and my B. AC is a negative 35. B is 2. So I'm going to have 7 times a negative 5. So I have now 0 is equal to W plus 7, W minus 5. So W plus 7 equals 0. W minus 5 equals 0. Subtract 7 from both sides. W equals negative 7. This is not a valid answer since it's rooted in the real world and it represents a measurement. Here, I'm going to add 5 to both sides. W is equal to 5. The width is going to be 5 inches. My length, to find that, I'm going to use L equals 2W plus 4. So L equals 2 times 5 plus 4 will be 14 inches. Good luck.